with a Timber Saw on hand, you're going to have that room because it can be very independent by the time the 4-6 minute runes are up. At that point, you're level 3, level 4, maybe inching towards 5 if the lane is good, so you're going to be durable on the Timb, and that gives the Shaker room to just do his own thing. So I like that the Shaker comes out with the Timber Saw, even though maybe as a laning duo, it's not, amazing, because Earthshaker just doesn't do much in lane beyond just tossing out fissures, and you're already dealing with a Shadow Demon who can stand back up against this dual melee, and kind of just keep tossing the shadow poisons, maybe draw them in and just get them bursted down if you're not careful. YG go into the Faceless Void as well, so the lane matchup for YG now feels really nice because you've got Time Walk, and it is a long cooldown, but it does give you some leeway in trading hits with that Timber Saw as well. So I think YG have this great win condition for Kish on the safe lane, just allows them to build up. You don't have the best combinations with a Chrono, and Kunkka Void is decent, and the Mirana can play from outside to an extent, but you don't have something like Alina, you don't have setup like, say, a Jakiro with Macropyre or even a Snapfire on hand. So it's not going to be as impactful to kind of look for those early Chronos. I wouldn't mind at all if this Void just sat back and farmed as sometimes Kish tends to do. If he does feel like he needs to build up, he usually does take that space, and Void will definitely need some space to get done here, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen this, the Void though with the Kunkka, right? Like, just being able to just Tidebringer, just get that cleave going in the middle of the Chrono seems to be pretty darn nice in terms of damage as well. So, we are going to have to wait out these next bans before we can continue. See, the Bloodseeker being removed here from SMG, just fair enough when you've got a Quap Timber. You don't want that Rupture available here for YG if you can avoid it. What does YG even need? I mean, it seems like probably just an offlane, right? Unless you wanted to run something weird like the Kunkka offlane, but chances are that's not going to happen. Any good offlaners left, John? I mean, you've still got the Tide Hunter available if you want.
Yeah, Tide does tie in well, gives you a follow-up stun for the Chrono. You really want something to play with Chrono, but there's not much left. There's the offhand choice of offlane Jakiro, which we've seen Raging Potato do, but to not great effect. It would play really well with a Void. You don't know your safe lane matchup up against an Abaddon. It doesn't feel great, so probably wouldn't work out. You could run offlane Faceless Void, Kunkka safe lane, last pick a mid for Young PH if you felt like you didn't want to deal with a Quap lane. But again, Quap Kunkka, we've seen this matchup before. Kunkka can still do Kunkka things, even though the Quap can opt for the dagger build up more and just try to trade back. Kunkka still feels like he has an edge. So I wouldn't really just mind the Kunkka staying there and the Void on the safe, but offlane. Not many options. They've banned out the Brewmaster as well, just taking away more hold that could lock in the Quap and the Timber Saw.
I mean,
maybe something like, say, a DK offlane would be nice. A Tide would still be good. Although my worry there is like you've got a long cooldown teamfight spell on your offlane on top of your safe lane. So your timing, your tempo for aggression is going to be tied in. But you've got Kunkka Mirana. It's not really necessary to just look for something that's a bit faster in the offlane. You can just play as 3. SMG get the Dusa. So a Tide doesn't really work in that lane too well. It could be a bit tough. And seeing SMG has left that, I think they're just forcing YG to make that choice now, Mike.
Okay. We'll see what YG do. Want to go for this offlane pickup. And Medusa, very annoying to have to go against right now, as it just, just farms up forever. Eventually gets to a point where you can't really contest. I mean, this offlane's...
I feel like DK off is good.
Yeah,
like
you
DK
mentioned
off
the DK.
Mirana,
yeah.
right?
I mean, I could see
Dragon
it too.
Tail with the arrow. Dragon form to play with Chrono gives you some push as well, which their lineup here in YG is sort of lacking. So that could be one way to go about things. The lane matchup still not the easiest, but you are very durable on that DK. To go with a Pango instead, so giving them more tempo. We were talking about lower cooldown ults. Pangolier's Rolling Thunder is not the longest. You don't have the stun combination with the Mirana lane, but you can harass out the Dusa, and you can even itemize to go say Diffusal if you want to deal with the Dusa if it does feel too durable. So a lot of options for the Pango to go for, and it should give them some really nice tempo in YG. This is a draft that's not going to wait too long. Outside of Kish farming up, everyone else is going to be ready to go by the time they hit level 6.
Yeah. I mean, very fun matchup here. I'm very curious myself to see how this this Pikachu player does here for SMG. Again, SMG have not looked amazing, especially with Roger and Mid1 stepping out. Though Roger obviously leaving the team, mid one just having a bit of time off, it seems. We're not sure what's going on with him right now. The YG, I like their draft. I think the Pango, great team fight, kind of solves that issue you talked about. You didn't want another long ulti, long cooldown ulti here in the offlane, so you've got the Rolling Thunder. No, even if you really want to, John, and I'm not saying this is going to happen anyway, but there was a meta once upon a time where you used to buy Diffusal Blade on Pango. And you could abuse it with a Swashbuckle. You could do that.
Would work really well. Up against Adusa. I think the Void can kind of go Diffusal, though. It's not really necessary for Pangolier. I'd say between the Diffusal and Basher, you'd prefer a Basher on a Pango if you do get that big, so maybe that sort of build-up, it would be much more useful on AT. My worry here for SMG, talking about their draft a bit, is that its tempo is a lot slower. You don't have big teamfight control in comparison to, say, the Chrono or even just Torrent Boat. You're going to be getting a lot of form out for Afu and for... Did we mention this? It's a Raging Potato Dusa, Mike? It's an offlane Dusa.
What? No, it's not an off... It can't be an offlane Dusa. I mean, it has to... I mean, I suppose Raging's maybe taken pos 1? Yeah, there's... Offlane Dusa? What do you mean?
Yeah, that's... Yeah, it should be safe lane, but Raging Potato on Dusa...
Yeah.
I mean, now he's switching roles as well. I don't know about this, Mike. I don't know how to feel about this.
Alright, well, let's get into it, John. We don't need to know how you feel about it, because we're about to see the results of this choice.
Prepare for
Raging
battle.
Potato position 1 is something I have not seen before, I don't think. See how the man does. I mean, he is a very versatile style of player, so I'm sure he's going to do just a great job here for SMG. I mean, again, though, like with these changes, it makes YG look even better, John, going into this game 1.
Yeah.
They do smoke up 5 on 5. There is going to be a bit of a group up to the top lane where Raging is going to have his own smoke broken, but they're both going to see each other. Wards were there anyway, and YG might be able to set up for the bounty runes, maybe force a fight there, but chances are they're going to just completely miss out. At the very least, though, John, they do get a nice little Observer Ward pick off there for Zorain, so he'll be happy with that on the Shadow Demon, but I don't see a level 1 team fight breaking out any longer.
No, way too out of position. Probably just going to settle for the 2 bounty runes. I think if YG still wanted to force the issue, they could try, at least maybe contesting for the River Rune, but you're a bit too far now on skill. They spent some time thinking about whether or not you want to deny that vision. So going to be a static start here, 2 for 2, looking like it. Although Kish is walking pretty far forward here.
The battle
He's going to be fine, Kish. He has the time walk if he needs it. Won't be able to take away the bounty, so it's going to be a 2 for 2. Nice even start between these 2 teams, and I suppose while we're here, we'll start with the bot lane, John, where you do have Kish on that pos 1 Void. Going to be there, supported by Zorain, and of course they are going to be up against Pikachu on the Timbersaw, and you have Afu there on the Earthshaker. What are you laughing about, John? We've only just started casting Pikachu. Give the man a break.
It's just such a great name, you know, Pikachu. I just imagine an actual Pikachu playing Dota right now. The imagery is something fantastic. Like this lane matchup for SMG, it's gonna be a bit slower. Like you can't be too aggressive on Shaker Tim. Maybe by level 2, you know, you could look for a good Fisher block. You could look for a Timber Chain forward. Void again in lane doesn't have the best cooldowns on Time Walk. But Timbersaw is not that durable either, and you've got a Shadow Demon you're dealing with. Right now, he does have Disruption level 1. Once Shadow poisons up, it's not going to feel very comfy for Pikachu. And I like what Zarain's doing here, just getting the pull off to match the pull of Afu. Not giving the Shaker a free ride to his level 2, not giving him a free ride to that early farm Afu wants.
Absolutely not. Let's have a look at the mid lane as well. You'll see Moon there along with Young PH. I feel like this should be Kunkka favored, and we've seen the Quap many times in this scenario against that Kunkka, but even with that Shadow Strike giving you the HP back, it just feels like the Tidebringer. The amount of cleave damage you deal is just way too high. And I believe Moon actually had this matchup the other day, and it just did not favor him whatsoever.
It's a tough time to manage for the Quap. You are off to a decent start here. Again, it's very even in terms of CS. But Young PH isn't expending as much mana. He's going to be able to contest runes quite fine. You don't tend to see Quaps go for that 1-1-1 build and more up against the Kunkka, so there's no blink advantage, no mobility advantage in going out. And that should lead to Young PH having decent rune control. And there's always that threat of rotation, Mike. If there is room for Skill A to come in on the Mirana, X Arrow is going to be devastating for Moon if he's not ready.
That it will be. Of course, the final lane, John, Raging Potato, who is about to lose his courier to Skill Lane, and of course AT there as well. Bit of a rough time at this top lane so far. Raging Potato, pretty low HP pool at the moment. Ninja Boogie, who is there to support him, is currently running back towards the fountain with absolutely no regen, is now raging. He's taking even more damage here from Skill A, but he's going to pop the mana shield and back himself out. So this top lane is not the smoothest for SMG.
No, it's even more passive than the bot lane of Yangon Galacticos. At least with a Shadow Demon, you can look to stack up poison, look to trap them in with a disruption, go for a play. Medusa Abaddon is very passive. You just want to farm, you just want to clear out the creep wave, get some build up. Ninja Bogey can't even go up and trade. He doesn't have the curse up. Trading with a Pangolier doesn't favor you with a shield crash. So it's just slower overall. And one negative for Abaddon, it really died off when you couldn't self-deny. Right, with the Mistcoil, that's what made it so strong. We've still been seeing Abaddons on and off. I think in that time period we were seeing it mainly from Ponlo, but it just faded off for a reason. And you saw what Ninja Bogey had to do. Walking back bought so much time for the aggression onto Raging.
Oh, Raging, speaking of, getting dived right now, might just drop as they do try to chase him down, but Ninja Boogie will be there with the Aquatic Shield to save. Is now mid lane. Young PH and Moon going at it, but Arfu has rotated, and they will not going to be able to get the X-Torrent back onto Moon, so Arfu saving the day for the Quap and setting up a great kill onto Young PH.
Yeah, I like that read from SMG. They saw how aggressive Skill A was focusing on top. They knew the Mirana wasn't going to come in for a rotation. They had an angle for Afu to take coming in, and it's those rotations we talked about. It's about the 4-minute marker. They're going to be able to at least take one for walking safely. They might be able to punish Afu. He doesn't have mana left here.
I mean, they're going to try, but they're out of range for the X back on Arfu, so he's just going to walk away. Zorain still stacking up those Shadow Poisons, does get a 4th now, but needs the 5th to even have a chance. Can he go for a 6th one? He's going to try, and he does land it. Still chasing him down, though, is Arfu. That'll be number 7 now onto Arfu. One more? Not quite. 8? Oh, just barely. Not connecting. Arfu going to be able to get away, and Zorain very close, but not quite close enough to be able to secure that kill by himself.
And that's such an important rotation out from SMG. It gives a lot of relief out onto Moon. Now he's really winning mid lane by a good margin, 24-4 compared to 20-3. It's not much, but up against a Kunkka, every little win counts, and this means Moon is going to hit level 6 a lot faster as well.
He's rotated again, John. Young PH going to find himself in danger once again as he's going to Fairy Fire up and try to fight this one out, but he needs rotations. And they're not going to come fast enough. Skill A. He's late to the party, so Arfu giving another kill the way of the Quap. And it's just terrible news now for Young PH.
It's all down to the difference in the pause force. Skill A knows he has a more aggressive lane up top, so he's been playing there a lot more. Opens up the mid way too much, and SMG Moon at level 6 now is just going to be able to go for the burst play. You're going to lack the boat durability here for Young PH. You do have Skill A camping now, though. Does have the arrow.
Not going to be able to even throw it out, though. You want the X there to just ensure it does connect, but it's only level 1 X at the moment, so the range is very low on Young PH, and again, he has fallen quite behind. Moon now 1 full level ahead of him. Let's look at Arfu again, John. He's going to rotate mid. For a 3rd time, there is no vision to scout this out either. Arfu's just going to freely walk in, but can they set up another kill? That's a great Fisher to block him in. Young PH, he's just going to be very patient and wait for an exit. This Moon did not seem like he was interested in trying to make the jump in. Instead, up towards the top lane they go with. They're going to try and help out Raging, who is baiting right now, but a big Sonic Wave out from Moon. Not enough to kill anyone off yet, as they both walk away for now. Moon, though, will continue the chase, and Ninja Boogie will cut off AT, eventually getting the Scream to get the kill on the Pango, and they should even be able to get the Mirana now, as Moon will just keep chasing him down. Ninja Boogie the one to claim that kill, and even getting out, thanks to the bottle charges of Moon.
Yeah, heads up plays from SMG. They're just playing super aggressive. They've been collapsing mid. They might lose Afu here, though.
They may. Alpha is going to go down, so Young PH able to get a bit of sweet revenge here on that Conker. Let's quickly take out that Earthshaker. John, you know who we haven't talked about at all yet? What's Pikachu up to? In fact, hold that thought, because top lane, Raging is going to cop an arrow to the backside and looks like is set to die and does. AT able to pick up that kill. It's a great setup there for YG. But how's Pikachu gone? He's currently chasing down Zorain. Zorain gonna go for the disruption and walk away, but Pikachu's on the chase with the Timber. Does land the Chakram, but does he have enough damage? Not quite. Zorain gonna be fine to TP away, and Pikachu, he'll go right back to farming.
And it's just one of the benefits of the Timbersaw. It's such an independent laner. That's why Afu's been showing up at 4-6 minutes for those rotations mid. He's still staying towards mid, trying to look for someone to gank up. Side of YG has pulled back. I think they realized that way too much aggression coming out from SMG there, having such an independent off lane. Kish is forced to jungle early, and this is the shortcoming of the Void versus Deuce. You just don't farm as fast, even with the tough lane Raging Potato is having.
Arrow gonna land again onto Raging, but Ninja Boogie is still around to try and help out if necessary. Raging losing most of his mana as they do turn around back onto the Abaddon, and now Raging, he's stuck around a bit too long, I think. He is completely out of mana, but can they slow him down or hold him down long enough? Skill A, he'll keep chasing, but now Moon's rotated. There goes your Mirana, and there goes your Pangalee. So Raging setting up the bait there for Moon to rotate. That'll be a successful team fight for SMG.
They're just working the map really well. They're managing to draw out these fights. Small mistakes coming out from YG. The swashbuckle, it's not been consistent from AT. And that's a lot of the damage in that lane phase. Even though it is still level 1, you want every nuke you can get to burn down a Deuce at this point. And now Pikachu's just making that rotation mid. He clears out the bot tier 1. He starts camping mid, as you tend to see Timbersaws do. Apply pressure on the lanes, force a response out. This is making it hard for YG to play super aggressive. They want to play the pick-off game. Young PH and Skill A will smoke up now. Let's see if they find someone, but SMG's pretty clumped up here.
Well, taking a lot of farm as we speak, John. They might be here at the right moment, so YG, they're going to start the fight onto Moon with the X-Pack into the boat and the arrow. Going to be plenty of damage, and, well, they are certainly doing a great job of interrupting this farming, but Raging is going to turn around now with Pikachu, who has rotated, but now the Rolling Thunder. AT, he does catch out Moon, and there's your Chrono. Kish has got 2 with it. They've got at least Moon down, and they've got Raging Potato locked up on this Deucer. He should be there to drop. This Raging Potato cannot survive through it. Pikachu, though, is going to keep fighting and does at least kill off Kish. In fact, Afu now rotating over, but couldn't get the Echo Slam off. Oh, he could not get the ulti off in time. Still, Pikachu is cleaning up, however. Does at least find 2 for their trouble. It's still a pretty bad team fight, though, for SMG. Or is it? Pikachu still going. Z-Rain is going to be able to back off. Pikachu's had enough for now.
It's a back and forth there. It does favor YG in the end, even though they lose their Void. Really big Chrono coming out from Kish. Love seeing that. We talked about Void in this case not really having the best Chrono combinations. Still wants to use it, finds the right timing to do so, and makes the most of it. SMG, they still have this massive frontliner in Pikachu. There's no form of break yet. There's no early silver edges coming through. And you don't really have the best magical burst at this point past the laning phase, and you can still play with Shadow Poison. It is hard to stack that up in the middle of a team fight. And that's just giving SMG a lot of room to play. Like, they've just been so aggressive as 4 heroes, with Moon joining in into every single fight, even without the itemization. He just knows he's got the levels and the burst damage to deal with a lot of these heroes. They just need to ensure that Raging, these fights don't occur near the Deuce. As long as they can guarantee that, it's fine.
Well, Moon does go down bot lane, John, and that's the X-Arrow combination that you've got to be very worried about if you are this Quap. Mid lane, though, Pikachu going to move in onto the Pango, but AT is going to swashbuckle out and does have the Rolling Thunder where necessary. So Pikachu now deciding he wants Zorain. Zorain does have disruption, but that may not be enough. He can just keep chaining forward, and eventually he will be able to find the Shadow Demon. That'll be the 3rd kill here for this Timbersaw. And Pikachu so far having a great game.
He's just had a great lane. He's been showing across the map. He's not just passively farming between the tier 2, tier 3. He's actually making space happen and setting up these push potentials for SMG. So mid under a lot of pressure, YG not in position to defend. They're all kind of unclumped right now, although Young PH will TP in at last, but Tower's lost a lot of HP.
That it has. You've still got to worry about how you deal with this Timber. They are posturing, but what are you going to do? Disruption, it will be there onto Raging Potato, but they're just going to walk out. There is going to be Kish joining in with him. He does have the Chrono and does commit immediately onto 2 targets. The Rolling Thunder, meanwhile, going right through, but a big Sonic Wave out from Moon, right through the side of YG, and they're looking to clean them up. They do at least get Raging Potato down, though. Pikachu still trying to go after Zorain, and in the meantime, Moon's chasing down Kish. It does seem like this fight will go in the favor of YG, but it hasn't ended yet. Zorain has been caught out. It is eventually going to fall here to Moon on that quap. Can they keep going for more? Well, they'll get the tier 1 mid tower. Skill A still around the area, but it has not been scouted out. So ultimately a 2-for-2 trade. You do find the Medusa. So it does look nice for YG, John, but you've lost the mid tier 1 tower at the same time.
I mean, it's a heavy cost for SMG, but they do find a favorable trade with the tower taken out, giving them control on that bot jungle, and just kind of helping Afu accelerate his farm. This Shaker has already have the blink up from that fight, so Afu's going to be ready to get even better angles on that Echo Slam, reposition himself for good fissures and enchant totem uses. And this is the point where SMG gets really scary. We all have seen Afu's Earthshaker with that blink spike. And YG has to be really cautious. They've got a bit of a tempo to play with around Chrono. I don't think we've seen them really commit too hard on a 5-man clump when the Chrono's gone. So there are windows for SMG to just force that issue, jump in without that big team fight. Even with, say, the Boat, Torrent, and the Rolling Thunder, it just doesn't feel enough once you have something to disrupt that initiation. With the counter initiation of SMG, the fights get a lot tougher for YG.
Still just trying to hold that mid lane right now. This is YG. Pikachu. It's posturing, but not going to make the chain in. And you look back at Kish, he hasn't really got too much farm to speak of either on this Void, so while you do still rely on just that Chrono alone, you do want a bit of damage. Right now, still just working on towards that Maelstrom timing. Obviously, he did go for the Mask of Madness first, but without the Maelstrom procs, it can be a little bit rough inside that Chrono. So it does seem like they have a bit of time to be able to go farm those items up. I say that though, Young PH has been scouted out, and Afu is there to set up with his own blink up. And Young PH, he's going to try and boat and just TP out of there, but Afu's in with the Echo. Just in time to cancel the TP. And this is problematic too, John, because Afu's had this blink tagger for the last 2-3 minutes now. That's a quick blink time going to pause for Earthshaker. And we've seen Afu, if he has a game like this, it's going to be problematic for the enemy team.
Yeah, he just starts to set up, and as mentioned, the counter fight potential of SMG is that much higher, because they don't have to worry about that Chrono.
Well, they've got Zorain. Arrow is going to land onto Ninja Boogie, and a Rolling Thunder right through 3 targets, but that's about all they've got. They'll try to chase down Afu here on this Earthshaker, and they will land the stun as Kish is also going to jump in and try to help out, but now the Stone Gaze is there. Afu finally does go down to the Swashbuckle, but they've caught out Kish. He'll Time Walk, and a 3-man Chrono, in fact, make it 4 as Pikachu walks right in. Arrow, no, it's going to be perched off Moon. He's going to be fine, but no, never mind, he will not be. Skill A does pick up the kill as well as Ninja Boogie. So YG will just keep going onto Raging Potato, looking for that Medusa, and they're going to be able to find a 4th target. The only remaining survivor is Pikachu, and perhaps not for long. So he will try to run, but they are on the chase. It's going to be an X-Back into a boat. He's still a tanky target, but not really too tanky, though with a nice fish around from Afu. Pikachu will finally go down. All it took is 5 heroes to get it done.
It's a massive commitment for the team, but they find the big kills from that last fight as well. A full team wipe out from SMG and YG. Kish has been delivering the goods. The Chronos have all been on point. Now they've got to be cautious about that teamfight control, though. The side of SMG is going to be looking to pressure maybe a little bit more. They still have Sonic Wave to play with. No Echo Slam, but Afu with just Blink Enchant might be enough to get that lockdown. So we'll see if SMG forces the issue. They still have better control on the map with their mid-tier 1. YG have been winning some of these fights, but they haven't made progress on objectives. So Roshan's still not clear-cut for them. They can't really invade that dire side jungle yet, and it is still giving SMG some really safe spots for Raging to farm. Like, he's just farming the bot lane, he can go into the jungle, and again, as long as the Deuce is not being contested in these fights, you're fine. The one mistake for SMG there was they felt the need to drag Raging in with the Stone Gaze to kind of turn things around because they felt like they had the advantage finding that pick-off. They underestimate that Chrono. Kish was just nearby farming, and with a Maelstrom up, he's going to do a little bit more work in that Chrono now, Mike.
Oh, that he is. Pikachu going to be spotted out. This Moonlight Shadow, he has no idea they are around, and the arrow is going to land right into the face of Pikachu. Not a great start here for SMG as Pikachu is about to drop. They've even found out Moon with the X and the boat back in. They do catch him out, at least for now, but there's no follow-up. They were still just focusing on the Timber. They couldn't get the damage out they wanted onto the Quap, nor the control that is as Moon. He's going to jump back in for a little bit, trying to bait them back into the fight, but it doesn't seem like YG want to take it this time. That being said, they do have Chrono back up in 5. So they could try to force something if they really feel like they can.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But it doesn't seem like they want to. Not quite yet anyway.
They are front-lining with Kish right now. SMG are posturing around the area, but not going to force the issue. I think they understand. You're keeping track of Chrono Timer. It's not too hard. Roshan is available, but again, it's still a bit difficult for YG to reach that area of the map. SMG going to be clumping around their jungle, but YG will go for that smoke play now with a Chrono ready.
YG, we'll see what they can get done here. Mid lane. Moon has been spotted. Fisher will land, but Arrow is going to be there to follow up onto Moon. Still the Aphotic Shield is going to allow him to get out. Rolling Thunder, they've caught the Earthshaker. That'll be a decent target to start on, as Afu does have the Echo Slam up. They want to blow him up, but he does get it off in time. Now Afu finally going down, and Skill A also to drop, and the Stone Gaze has also been popped here from Raging Makish. He's in with the double Chrono. Still, Young PH is already gone. They may not have the damage. Still chasing Raging Potato, but he's surviving throughout all this, or maybe not. He's out of mana now. He's in big trouble. Moon could not help him out either. So Raging Potato is going to go down as Pikachu. He's also been caught here by Kish, but he does have the Halberd up. While all that was happening, Moon was taking care of the backside and actually makes his own way out. They don't seem to be able to deal with the Timber either. Not unless they can get 5 heroes around him. And that seems to be it, John. 20 to 15, 2k net worth advantage for YG, but it's still a very back and forth game between these two.
Yeah, I mean, you still went out in that exchange on YG, a slightly better network swing for SMG, but it did cost them a buyback on the support. And not the biggest buyback to blow. I think you still get a lot of value there from Ninja Boogie, but the issue now for YG is, yeah, you're winning some of these fights, you're getting some great chronos, and they're not able to go for the objectives because the Timber Saw is still on their bum. You know, he's still chasing them down, he can clear out the creep wave, it makes it hard to commit on that mid-tier 1. Young PH is going to commit now, but again, they don't have that chrono to play with here.
And Moon, Torrent into the arrow once again in the Aphotic Shield. It's going to be there, surely. Moon is still fine. They are just trying to focus down the Timber. But that Rolling Thunder's been very annoying for SMG thus far, as Pikachu is still tanking just so much damage here from Kish. Moon again onto AT as the disruption will save his life, and another arrow going to land onto the Queen of Pain, but Ninja Boogie, he will be around to make sure that Moon is going to be fine. But nobody dies. Both teams walk out with 5 players. Nobody actually going down here, and it seems like both teams have the same problem. They're just lacking damage right now.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you don't have that much right-click yet on SMG, especially on Raging. He does have the Manta up, still working towards Ags, so it's a very control-oriented build. The damage will pile on with the Stone form coming through on the Ags. But even then, it's kind of hard to burst down Void, to burst down a Conquer. They do catch up AT though.
Yep, Yule's up. AT, no, he's fine. He's bought himself enough time, so what? Young PH, he got the X off, onto the quad once again, and Ninja Boogie needs to be there quick, but Moon, no, he's going to be able to blink out in time. The Stone Gaze is out from Raging. They're going to try and force this fight, but Kish, he'll move in as well. Chrono is up. They're onto the Deucer. A big Sonic Wave, but there's your Chrono. It's caught out 3 targets. Moon was right on the backside, and he is gone. Oh, Kish finds the perfect position for the Chrono. And now SMG, all they can do is just try to get out of there. There is no fighting. Bye-bye, Afu. The only survivor will be Pikachu, but he will go home alone.
Yeah, just all these big Chronos from YG, man. Kish is really giving them all the openings. How many 3-man Chronos have we seen now? 3-man Chronos, 2 3-man Chronos? Other than that, it's been 2-mans, really big targets every single time. He's been delivering on this Void. And, you know, you and I, we're not the biggest Void believers because it's such a long cooldown, doesn't farm fast. We saw Kish go off to a slow start. He was behind the Deuces far as expected. With all these engagements though, with how early Raging Potato is forced to fight, he's not been able to farm much, and they've got Pikachu out here.
They have. He's going to be just fine though, John. He's still a very tanky boy here on this Timber. Problem is, every team fight, he kind of just gets ignored. They just avoid him altogether and just go for everybody else. And, well, sometimes that's just what you have to do. It's just, who cares if Timbersaur's in the game, because he can't actually hold you down. Which might be a buff that Timber might need, John. Maybe give Timbersaur a stun or something. Something. No bias, John. I don't play Timber. Not like I play offlane Timber, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, please don't say that. Can you imagine if he did have a stun on his Ag Shard instead of Flamethrower? I wouldn't like that. That would be so annoying. And again, it's turning into a different game. Like, that's the kind of balance they do in that other game. Wouldn't want to see that. As Roshan is being taken here by YG. Should be a freebie, it looks like.
It will be. SMG not going to be around to try and force a fight as they do scan out, but it's way too late. So it just seems like they were not aware the Roshan was happening. I suppose considering the position they're in this game, number one, they probably would not have been able to really consider the fight. You're still just kind of lacking damage. Like, Raging is nowhere near the point where he's willing to really just stand there and right-click yet, though he has been trying. And while Moon's been pumping out quite a bit of damage himself from the Quap, it's just not enough on his own. You just need that position 1 to kind of pull his weight at the moment.
Yeah, and the issue is, you're dealing with your only burst is on Quap. You're up against a Kunkka. You're up against a Void. They've got a lot of durability with a Time Walk, with a Ghost Ship coming out for the entire team in the Kunkka's case, and Pangolier with a Shield Crash. So it's really hard to burst them down. You do have good sustained damage coming through with Quap and to an extent the Timbersaw, but it's just not enough. Like, YG is tanky enough to sit through that prolonged fight anyway. So we need to see some gold flowing in onto Raging. He's number 3 net worth, not too far behind there, Mike. Ags should be flying out in about 500 gold, and that's going to help the cause massively, giving them some setup with a Mystic Snake, getting some damage amp out with a Stone Form. At least that'll boost out the physical output of Raging. You would want to see a little bit more. He is going Scotty next, so that should put a dent in the sustain of YG. Put a dent especially in that Faceless Void with a Time Walk regen. So you're going to be able to hammer in onto Kish if he doesn't make most of his Chrono. Kish is also going for a Scotty though. So he's going to have those extra stats, the same healing reduction coming through. And as it boils down, it's just a matter of how SMG are taking these fights, because it feels like YG are the ones to initiate every single time. And we talked about it from the draft. They've got so many ways to initiate. They've got Disruption Arrow, Disruption Torrent, X Arrow. They've got Chrono. They've got Rolling Thunder with Blink. For SMG, it's pretty much all off either Afu coming in with a good slam or a good fissure and enchant, or a nice blink forward from Moon to force the silence with his Ag Shard. It's just not a stable control in comparison to SMG.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Scan out. They know someone is around as Moon. Gonna back off that right moment. They have at least found Afu though. Or have they? Afu? He's a man on the run right now, and in fact he's gonna blink out of there into the TP, and he has made it. Afu! Alright, never mind, he is not a dead man, he's fine. Maybe they can
Ninja's
find
way
Ninja
out.
Boogie. Yeah, X is there.
Middle tower is under attack.
Gets the courier as well. They'll get the borrowed time popped. They'll just be very patient with that arrow set up to just wait it out a little bit. It looks like YG, they might just commit for the mid-tier 2 tower now. In fact, never mind that, because Moon is currently being chased down here by Zorain. Purge is there. Moon's still going to be able to blink away in all this, and looks like he may just make it. In the meantime, mid lane, another team fight has broken out. They found the Aegis off Kish, and it seems like YG do need to back off, but they are not going to be able to get away scot-free as they are being chased here by Pikachu and Raging. They're going to keep this fight going. They have caught AT out. He'll roll up and try to make his way out as they have the Chrono, and they're going to connect another 3-man.
Disarm.
The boat in, they've got Moon, they've got the Quap down. Disarm or not, John, it's going to be more than enough from Kish as Ninja Boogie actually does also end up dropping a bit of Echo Slam. Fu trying to turn this team fight, does take down the Pingo, but it's not going to be enough. Not that it looks like it, as Pikachu is dead. And Moon buys back, but it's a little bit too late. He had TP on cooldown as well, so he couldn't really TP back to the tier 2 mid tower. It's really just a bit of a mess here for SMG.
It's another big win for YG. Again, the chronos coming out from Kish are always big. He manages to catch tree, he manages to get that control off for the team, and his damage is starting to pile up. Like, just with Maelstrom, it's feeling a lot harder to deal with him. When he hits level 20 with the attack speed or time lock, it's even more damage in that chrono. So SMG's got to be really cautious with their positioning here.
They've got Zorain, but Kish looks like he wants to try and get another fight going. Nice juke on the Sonic Wave, but Moon at least finding Zorain, but it's going to cost his own life.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good news. Zorain gives the tip over. Fu's going to be chased here by Skill Later Boot, so he's probably just dead. And you've got Raging Potato trapped up with the X-Back into the Rolling Thunder. Another disastrous fight for SMG as there's just nothing they can do here against YG. Now even Ninja Boogie coming back in to try and help out will be the final piece of the puzzle, it seems. They'll get him. That was a 4-for-1 trade. The only person who survives through it is Pikachu, and he wasn't even there.
Yeah, just trying to build up on the Timd. Trying to get that Sanj and Kaya next to have more output. Gets caught out though.
Yeah. Still going to be able to walk away though, YG. Gonna go back to those tier 2 towers. I mean, SMG again.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's pretty tricky for SMG. I think they've got pretty good high ground. That might be what they opt for next. Shove out with your Quap and Timbersaw. Keep the lane shove out like that, but just give the high ground gold onto the Dusa. Try to keep building up. Try to hit that Scotty timing. Maybe go for, say, a Silver Edge wouldn't be too bad. I think just to have some damage output or a full Daedalus wouldn't be too bad as well. Or even a Butterfly might help you up against the Faceless Void because he's not going to go MKD anytime soon. But it's a slower game now. YG has the initiative. YG has the control. Galeto.
Caught out, but it might be a setup. Disruption and a Chrono's out again. Kish, another 3-man Chrono here from this Void. They've got Moon again right off the bat into the Timber. Pikachu to drop. Ninja Boogie, he won't be getting out either. Right into the loving arms of young PH, and now they've got Raging. They'll just wait out the Stone Gaze and eventually move back in. There's Echo Slam Fu. He's gonna find AT, but that's all he's found. His Raging has lost most of his mana here on this Dusa and is gonna drop, it seems. They cannot really help him. Just nothing they could do. Pikachu buying back, but it may be a tieback very soon if he doesn't back off. In fact, Fu, he'll be the first one to go down. Pikachu the only person left alive, and it looks like they are just gonna focus down the Timber now. Look for that tieback, and they're gonna get it. SMG, they'll commit a buyback on Fu now. They are going to get young PH with that.
They had to use the Fortify to get that split shot on the arrow, but they at least find something. Very costly defense from SMG. It's not like their high ground was under threat, because the tier 2 still stood there on the bot lane, so they couldn't transition to an objective on YG's end. And I'm sure YG's going to be very happy forcing out all those buybacks. They've got a 17k lead off the back of that, Mike. 39-19. SMG this kind of boils down to just some early aggression coming out, maybe from Raging coming out. Like, his laning phase went pretty back and forth, but he was ahead in net worth comparison to the Void. And then he started joining these fights early. And it was paying off for some time, but his damage output wasn't great. He was starting to get isolated, and at that point, his farm started to taper off. This is not the position you want your Dusa to be in. Almost always, even on a side that's, you know, it's not going your way, the net worth swing is still in favor of Dusa, right? She's almost always number one on the map. Not the case for Raging. It just boils down to his priorities in that mid game, and I think this is the time now for SMG to start focusing on that build-up. You've got the stall now with your Timbersaw, you've got the stall with your Quap. You have to enable your Medusa to at least get that build-up into the Skadi and into a damage item, like the Crystallis or a Daedalus or even a Divine, and just kind of ride from there. So we'll see how well SMG can stall. I mean, they still have a lane to shove in on bot with the tier 2 gone, so someone's always got to respond. But YG still has control on the map. They don't have the best vision game, especially in that top jungle. Not much control coming out there. But they are still set up to favorably take Roshan if they want to. SMG can always threaten with Afu. As long as they know where the Shaker's farming at, I think YG would be in a good spot to start tracking that Rosh. Still 20 seconds away. Once it's up, though, that's going to enable them to take high ground if it's given for free again.
Well, they'll go for the outpost first. In fact, never mind that. They'll deal with the creep wave first. Roshan, when are you respawning, sir? It's gonna be a 2-minute timer. It's not the fastest, not the slowest. Arfu. Oh, he's been caught out here. Zorain does get disruption off, but Arfu just gonna go right for the TP up. No help there for Zorain to be able to lock him back down. Trying to stop the split pushing here of SMG. Always that kind of awkward thing with the current meta, right? Is you're just constantly split pushing over and over again, and makes it very hard to even consider going high ground for the team with a big advantage. And YG is currently 17k ahead, and they just can't do anything with it. I mean, obviously you're waiting for the next Roshan anyway, but this is probably why it would be a good reason if there was a second Rosh John, because at least you wouldn't be stuck just waiting for the first one. Mid lane? Oh, they've got Raging again on that Medusa, and there's not much help around right now for this Medusa, so Raging Potato is the fall. And they've got Ninja Boogie as the cherry on top here. Never mind John YG, they may be able to go high ground.
You find a great opening without the Dusa, and there's no buyback as well for Raging. Not sure if they're aware, but they should start poking and prodding now. There's still that threat of split push. Bot, it's a Shaker shoving in the wave. Or it's a Quap. They don't push too well anyway.
Ish, happy to fight against Pikachu, who's trying to man up. In the meantime, Arfu does get caught out, and young PH will give the tip over. I'm Pikachu, gets caught in the chrono now as Kish is not playing around. He wants to die back once again on that Timber. There's just no buybacks available on the map right now, so YG, they are lacking a creep wave, but they'll head up top instead. Try to get the T3 tower down there.
Demon's doing a great job of at least cutting off that creep wave, but he can't handle all the lanes. So his push is still going to come out from YG. SMG, respawns aren't too far off, at least for the Dusa. But the Dusa needs backup, and that's the one issue. You pop Stone Gaze, YG doesn't really care. They just turn their backs for a bit. There's not enough damage on the Dusa to force a threat with a Stone Gaze, and they would just run down anyway. So one set of racks going the way of YG, they could force the issue onto mid, and they will. They can't get Mega Creeps here yet, Mike, but they could back off for the Roshan and go for the endgame afterwards.
Look at the 2 Raxes. Like you mentioned, John, Roshan is up, so they'll go back for that. What if it wasn't a second Roshan position, John? What if it was like Roshan and Primal Beast just keep switching?
That's what I was thinking. Like, replace first Rosh with Primal Beast, take away the Aegis on first Roshan, get something else, or second Rosh. I've seen some people saying second Rosh to be replaced as well, so the Ag Shard's gone and a different buff is given. And could be one way to go about it. I think the early Rosh is just really strong, but it feels like Rosh 2 is the bigger one.
Rolling Thunder, AT, Looking to set up here on this Abaddon as Pikachu being caught out again. And with the Spirit Vessel, it's really not that hard to take down this Timber. But Fisher is there to put a stop to all this, but it looks like Kish wants to keep going. In fact, it's rewind time for Kish. He's got that button available. He'll move in again onto Pikachu. The Timber, though, is still fighting, but the Bashes and the boat to come out. It's going to be too much damage. You've lost your Timber now as Kish. He's just going everywhere, trying to find out this Medusa, and eventually we'll be able to get her right after that Stone Gaze into the arrow as well. The Mantle will not save him. Moon, I mean, he's looking for a way to save, but there's nothing he could have done. Fu does commit the Echo, but it's just nowhere near enough. The damage just is not there, and they'll call the GG. SMG will drop game 1 as Kish. Would you believe it, John gets another 3-man chrono?
He's been on fire in this game, and Kish has just been delivering the goods with a Void, just getting the big chronos that YG needed. I think for SMG, it just boiled back to some of the choices they made towards mid-game. They were taking some good fights, but they were forced to drag in Raging Potato, and maybe this is a consequence of switching roles. You know, he's much more used to being active, much more used to taking point in team fights. His Dusa was showing up way early on. He didn't really have major item buildup beyond maybe Dragonlance and Yasha, which was a good starting point for Reduce's damage, but as they kept forcing fights, and as Kish showed up with good control on the chrono, the Dusa wasn't doing much. And then when it came back to farming, you were already behind that Face's Void, and you were still forced to join these fights, not giving you too much space to build up. So we'll see if SMG makes some adjustments there. I think otherwise, they execute pretty darn well. It took a while for YG to get their arrow setups coming in. And I think there was a window for SMG to be aggressive, because we saw some good rotations from Afu onto mid. Young PH was under heavy pressure. They've just got to maybe lock in some of that mid-game movement a bit and to start to get their cores farming a bit more there.
All right, well, with that, John, we are going to head off to a short 10-minute break. And right after that break, of course, we'll be back with game number 2 between YG and SMG. See you then.